Good scrimmage today. I just feel like that's the most valuable practices we can have when it is simulated like the game and it feels like the game. The more we can practice like that, the better from my perspective. I'm a limited perspective, but I love practicing like that. And then to address the practice playlist the other day, Madison, who's our practice DJ and assistant to the coaches, does a great job. She reached out in April and said, anybody on the team, send me any music you want played at practice. So I probably sent her like 100 songs. And I'm just, there's a very specific genre of rap that plays pretty much 95% of the time. So I'm sending my 100-some songs just for that 5% that we get occasionally where they change it up. And she basically, tried to pull from that list for my birthday. So I didn't know that. I was at practice. I was like, I'm surprised. It's been like several songs in a row that I know. Most of the songs I don't know that well. It's like 3 in a row, 4 in a row. That one was from middle school. That one was from high school. And then I said to Madison afterwards, I said, great job with the music today. And she said, well, that was for your birthday. I said, oh, okay. So it wasn't my specific curated playlist, but she definitely tried to pull from the songs I sent her, which I loved it. So next year, I'm going to try to specifically curate the songs exactly to down to the very song. So, but yeah, we're having fun out here, and it was a really good day today to get that scrimmage working. So, take any questions? Yeah.
Sure. When you talk about the practice simulating game conditions, can you specify in what ways it is doing that? Is it communication?
Yeah.
With coaches, and just how exactly is that kind of?
Well, the big one is that the play affects the next play. So what happens is, and I didn't realize this till later in my career, is in practice, the way practice is scripted, it's all 1st and 10 for the whole period. I'll take a 12-yard sack, and the next play is 1st and 10. That's not football. If I take a 12-yard sack, the next play is 2nd and 22. And you need to have a plan for 2nd and 22, but you never really practice it. So, and then the opposite is true. If you go a lot of times we hit an explosive play to Drake or Mooney, and then we're just right back where we started. And it's like, well, normally we'd be sprinting down the field and running our goal line offense out to punch it in. So you want to simulate that, and plays build on each other. And too many times in practice, the plays don't build on each other. You're just isolated, and it's as I say, each play is its own season. You're just trying to win the play. And that's not how football is played. Football is played factoring in the previous play, what the next play could be, the clock, the timeouts, what their defense is doing. So there's just a lot of other factors that when you're practicing in a more controlled environment, you're not thinking about so many of the things that as a quarterback you're constantly thinking about when you're in a real game.
Is this like an effective simulation of a preseason game? Because obviously you haven't played it all this preseason, and Michael's not going to be playing this weekend or last weekend.
Well, it's the closest we're going to get, so we need to make it as effective as we possibly can. I would love to do more of this, and we'll see if we can fit that in. But it's the closest we're going to get.
How do you feel now, Kirk?
I feel good. I feel best I've felt, and I think the ball's coming out well, and really feel good.
What do you think now? You feel like the offense needs to work on more?
Yeah. Well, coming out of the scrimmage, I need to watch it to really give you a better answer. I think for the most part it was a pretty positive day. I thought we ran the football well from the little bit I could see after handing the ball off. I think we spread it around. I think we were pretty explosive. But we just need more time, more reps, more experience together to keep owning what we want to do. And that you're always going to say that no matter how much you have.
Would you think it could have been a more perfect day than today as far as the weather? And
it was a little cooler today. Felt like a Michigan-Minnesota day maybe in the summer, but it's all good. I don't really think too much about the heat once we get going. It's usually just that first step out on the grass when you first feel it that you notice it. But I thought the defense also did some good things. So it was kind of a back and forth a little bit, and good day to go back and evaluate from and create good conversations to get better.
We were talking with Drake last week, and he's had some practices that he's looked phenomenal, like best player on the field at times, and
sure.
Other practices maybe not so much, and there's been a little bit of inconsistency that he's been frustrated with as well. Just what are you seeing from him, and could you compare him to anyone else that you maybe played with in your career?
Well, I think he's been pretty consistent. I think that he's hard on himself, and which you love. I'm the same way. What I've learned is when you're hard on yourself, you have to find a way to still give yourself grace and enjoy it. Otherwise, you can really beat yourself up and be pretty miserable, pushing for more and more and more. So, we got a kindred spirit there, but I think he's done pretty well. And he's a very friendly target. So there's times where it's a tight window, but I'm just like, nah, he's got such good hands. I'm just going to drive that ball to him because he'll usually make me right. That happened a couple times today. And so, I really like the visual thrown to him. And he reminds me of a guy I played with in college, B.J. Cunningham, who was the all-time leading receiver at Michigan State. And really strong hands, just really friendly target. When he was covered, he was open, and yet still could really move fluidly to do all the things you wanted him to do in the route tree. So had a lot of production with B.J., really loved playing with him. And I tell Drake he's kind of the first-round pick version of B.J.
I'm curious, and earlier this season, I'm pretty sure you played in preseason games.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, has it been hard to get used to not playing in preseason games?
Well, the league's changed. I could tell you all the different ways the league's changed. I mean, when I came into the league, it was the first year we weren't doing true two-a-days, and so that was different. And then you've got, the preseason thing has changed in the last just few years. It used to be starters would play an entire half in multiple games. So it's just evolved, and you just learn to evolve with it. I think defenses are so different than when I first came into the league. What I'm seeing and how muddy it is, it didn't used to be that way. And I've had to have conversations with coaches to say, hey, 7 years ago I would have just done this because I would have seen the coverage much earlier. But now it's just so muddy, it all looks the same. You really can't play that way. You have to change your style of play to adapt. And so we all have to adapt to how the league changes, and how the preseason is handled is no different. I think it's going to keep changing. I think how training camp is structured will keep changing. Hopefully that includes more water park trips. So
How was that yesterday?
it was absolutely tremendous. Literally decades. There have been decades of going to training camp every day, putting on your pads and thinking, maybe today coach will cancel practice and tell us to go to the water park. So much so that last year in Minnesota there was that narrative brewing. It was just a rumor. Our long snapper played the cruelest prank I've ever seen. He hired 5 coach buses to come to the building and idle between the building and the practice field. The linemen didn't even get taped because they were so like, we're definitely going to the water park. And they just walk, but no one said anything. So they just walk past the buses, go out to their drill. They just kind of stand around, looking around, like surely he's going to blow the horn and tell us we're on the bus. Nope, horn blew, practice started, the buses drove off. They did not talk to the long snapper for about a month. He had to buy them all kinds of snacks for their room for them to have a relationship after that. But I'm telling you, the water park thing was a big deal. So yesterday when he said it in a team meeting after we had lifted a meeting, he said, we're going to the water park. I was like, I've literally been waiting 20 years for this, and it just happened. So I was the first guy there with my towel and my sunscreen and flip-flops. I was ready to go.
Kirk, with this kind of marking the last work of, quote-unquote training camp, at least for a lot of the starters, what does the next week look like for
Yeah.
you? Just what are the general things you have to prepare for week 1 specifically, just again for any opponent that you...
Yeah, I think we'll obviously have a lot of time to start on Pittsburgh, so start to get familiar with their personnel, the changes they've made. Try to talk scheme. Scheme is tough because of the changes. But try to talk scheme as best you can, and you do have a lot of time. And then it's a question I need to ask our head coach. Hey, how do you want to best use the time next week as far as practice goes, and kind of see what he wants to do with it, because that's the way it is. You kind of do have a lot of time now. It used to be a 4th preseason game next week, and now you don't have that. So. Got to cover a lot of ground, but we do have a lot of time, and it's this balance of like pacing yourself while also trying to get to work, and because what we don't want to do is get to Friday before the Steelers game and you're almost worn out with how long you've been talking about them.
Last week, Farmers went out and got 2 really good defensive players in Judon and Simmons.
Yes.
Thoughts on that, and
Yeah.
what could they bring to this team?
Yeah, I mean, I've played against both of them and watched a lot of tape of both of them as you watch defenses around the league, and they're both real deal players. So we're thrilled to get them. I think they'll be a great asset, and it's just we just got to get them up to speed quickly so that they're really comfortable and can play fast. That's the key, is that you're so comfortable that you can really play really fast when you see things you go, because you know what you need to do.
What was the final score?
Final score of the scrimmage?
Yeah, I had 17-3 at halftime. Then I kind of drifted.
I appreciate the fact that you kept it. I don't even think our head coach kept it. So maybe you could slip that to him on his desk, and he'll take that. Yeah. It was pretty manipulated and doctored in terms of moving the ball around and stuff, things happening. But we did 4-minute. Defense kind of won that 4-minute at the end, and then he said 2-point play to decide it.
Okay.
And the 2-point play got all screwed up. We didn't do what we were supposed to do, and then I just went to check it down to Bijan, and he walked in. So that's an example of results over process there. You love the result because you won the scrimmage, but probably we didn't execute the play as well as we ought to have.
Did you hesitate at all Monday before sprinting after that defensive back?
No, I don't know what I was doing. I just blacked out, I think. But, we threw the pick, and then I don't like when defensive players kind of, peacock a little bit as they sprint down. So I thought, I'm going to chase this guy, and I'm going to chase Ham, and I hope I close on him so that it shows on tape that, I'm gaining on him. And I kind of did. So love putting that on tape.
Speaking of that, how much are you anticipating that first hit?
Yeah. No, there's some of that of like you almost want to be live, before that so that you can kind of get it out of the way. But, yeah, that's part of the deal. But I think it's you probably anticipate it every year, because it's been months with a red jersey regardless because the ankle feels good. So that's all good. And, I'm working back. I sprinted on that deal, and they told me I was at 18 miles an hour. And it's like breaking the sound barrier. I'm trying to break 19 miles an hour. They would give out T-shirts if you can break 21. And I said, that's not fair because you guys have this club that I'll never be able to join. So they're really cool T-shirts too. But they said they have a group chat and everything, and I can't get in. So I said, but I'm going to start my own group for people who break 19 miles an hour who can't get to 21 miles an hour. So I've broken 19 before. My point is coming off the injury, I got to get back and break it again because I'm still hanging out in the 18s.
Is there anything else you want to do before week one as far as just for you and your comfortability going into week one? Is there anything else you want to see or maybe something that happened?
Yeah, no, every practice you're going to say, okay, I got better today. I learned from this or that. I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad I made that mistake. So every practice is valuable from that standpoint. We certainly need to do a lot to talk about our opponent and to really get our arms around what the game plan will be. But no, I think we're just stacking days right now, and we're making progress with each day we're going out there.
As you've reached this stage in your career, what are some of the things you feel like you've learned that you can do to help your offensive line with pass protection?
Great question.
To make
Yeah.
things easier on them.
Yeah, I think snap count's really important. I think you certainly want to. Trent Williams used to tell me hot potato. So you don't want to hold on to it forever. You don't want to be a habitual ball holder. I'll also tell them in the huddle sometimes, hey, guys, this one's a ball holder. So, not that you were going to cut corners, but just so you know, that extra last shove may make the difference. So I don't know if that scares them or if that helps them, but you try to tell them, hey, this one's a ball holder or whatever it may be. Or, hey, jump set the guy. I'm going to get the ball out quick here. Jump set him, get hands down. So you try to have that good communication, and I just want feedback too. I want to be available. Go down there. Hey, what are you guys feeling? Are they jumping the cadence? Are they, do we need to run the ball more? What, I can help be a voice too to the coaches if you got anything. So try to get their feedback all the time and make them feel comfortable to share what they need.
Anything else? Yeah, what did you feel y'all did well in scrimmage?
Good question. We moved the football for the most part. I thought we ran the football well. I thought we had some explosive plays. I mean, those are things you're looking for. I don't quite know how effective we were on third down. I think that would be something to go back and look at. So I thought we stayed ahead of the chains for the most part. I think we had only one penalty on offense with the ones when we had a little flinch on an offsides. But other than that, I thought we were good with penalties and avoiding them. And, that's where it was pretty clean.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Kirk.